of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Lord, with us today as we celebrate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interest of those that we serve. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind your teachings, your wishes for all of us, Lord, that we all be just better people and better citizens. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, Steve. All right. We had a chance to look at the minutes from August 27th of 2024. I have a make a motion to accept. A second. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Good job, Sandy. Let's see. The first item I have is the weekly health insurance claims for Allied. And those are in the amounts of $30,080.13. And that is all medical, no adjustments. They don't verify the claimants. Very good. Thank you. Tell me any questions on that. Motion. Second. Good. Motion carries to approve that claim as presented. Okay. Then we have accounts payable claims. You should have received those. That's in the amount of $703,824.29. I know there were some highway and things that came out that were pretty high dollars, so that was a reason that was more than normal. But 703,824.29. I didn't have any questions. I'll make a motion to approve. Second. Okay, motion carries to approve claims as presented. Okay. And then we have the payroll and P claims, which details the benefits and so forth associated with payroll. That's in the amount of $492,693.96. And that is a little higher than normal because there was an extra pay this month. It's one of those months where there was 4 instead of 3. Okay. So 492, 693.96. Motion approved. Second. Okay, motion carries to approve payroll claims as presented. Okay, I handed out to you before the meeting the animal shelter report submitted by Mike and Cindy Heiser. Just got copies. Looking to see. We've been busy. There's kind of clearly things on the second page there. Kind of see how many we still have. Maybe 10 or 11 they still have, it looks like. If I'm looking at that correctly. I think they tried to update that when they came in last time. You only updated. I'm not. Anyway, I don't know if I'd be related to the question. I'd have to be that. Oh, dogs still have 11, it says on the second page. Cats still have is 10. So 21 altogether. When it was transferred is exactly. Transferred, I think, so last time they mentioned that they go up to full society and that they keep them if they think they're adoptable up there, they'll keep them and take them off Adams County's hand. Oh, yeah. Because we have less room. They got that new facility up in Fort Wayne, it's bigger now. So that's what they're doing from their transfer. Okay. Motion to accept the animal shelter report. Second. Motion carries. Accept the report as presented. That was all that I have. Okay. All right, Nate, what did you have for us today? Good morning. Couple of updates for you on the small structures. KBL completed the over 218 on Wednesday last week. That's the one on 100 south, about half mile west of 500. They also completed the culvert 378 on Thursday. That was one at County Road 900 north, 0.6 miles east to 600 east. So they went up north for those two. They didn't run into projects on Friday, but they are starting on culvert C243 today. That's the one on 600 north, about a quarter mile east to 400 east. I was just out there this morning as they're excavating. Unfortunately, cycle time for trucks are taking a while, so they couldn't do anything when I was there. They were starting to dig just before this meeting again, so they're pretty much on schedule as far as how long it takes to complete them. We are on schedule. The plan was to have all these done by September 1st, so I have more time for paving. I'm giving them a pass because we're staying on top of this at this point. But they've got they were getting started on this. It was due to a lot of the different work that was out there at the time. I would like to give them more notice earlier on as far as the studies, but they are getting about 3 done a week right now, which means they'll be done about 2 weeks late. So we should have them done next week, even with this holiday on Monday. So that they're pretty good, unless like you said, they're down to labor. Or stone product, they're pretty good about not having the road closed any longer. Yeah, we have some things have been anywhere from 1 day, or only half a day, because they don't start until any buses are, and the drives, everyone's gone off to work before we get started. So that's from about 8:30 in the morning, and they're interrupting traffic on the afternoon. If they get it done in 1 day, if it's 2 days, then you still have that first day, and then it lingers in, but usually they've got the road open by the second afternoon. If there's a problem, then obviously it might be out for 3 days, but they've been staying on them pretty regularly. Good. Sounds like a good company. So KBL's done quite a bit of work for the county in the past, and talking to them, they've done a number of different structures for Tim before, so they'll certainly be on our list as far as invitations for some projects like this in the future. Good. Structure C124, that is planned to change contractors. When I did the quotes, the loan was provided by Rugenberg Excavating. That it is adjacent to another structure that KBL has. So they're essentially on the 2 different corners of 2 roads. And Rugenberg has approached KBL to see the project for Rugenberg's quote. Right. So there's a pipe that's already been delivered. So I've kind of put the burden on them to coordinate the trucking and transfer of the pipe that's been delivered. And that was their plan at this point. So that was Rugenberg that initiated that chair. I think he approached KBL. I didn't. It was not something that I did. I just wanted as far as information for you. I had to make you aware that the still wants to be included in future requests. It's just kind of just the convenient sake of saying, hey, you know, I've got a full set of if you're bound to do this rather than switching that back. That seemed to be kind of more mindful thing as far as the approach. If that makes any sense. And that's the ones up by the Freedom Church. There's 2 right there. It's one of those 2 there at the corner. So, again, are you going to move that culvert one way or the other, or is that going to? Not significantly. I am looking at the ones we've got on the schedule this year, and there's a number of things that I wish I had done this year with these. Many of them needed to be done really quickly. So I'm looking at making some of these pipes longer in the future. If it was a 30-foot pipe and I could make it work with a 30-foot pipe, I really should put a 50-foot pipe in just because. And there's more material, there's more expense, there may be some more issues with utilities. But I think it's the time to try to do that. I'm going to be more aggressive about doing that, even if we do fewer structures in the future. So that's something that I'm taking notes. We're going through these and trying to make notes and adjustments to what we're going to try to do in the future. If the
Any further future road improvements or lighting or anything like that?
So we just deal with it now, trying to set some of these pipes up. Gives us a spot, put some of the support material over the shoulders in those areas as well. But the goal is to try to make these structures last, even though the steel pipes are significantly less expensive. But I don't want to come back to those in 25 years.
Good, thank you.
I am still working on pricing for asphalt overlays on some of these repairs. These, at best, it's going to be late this season. I'm trying to work with Brooks, who has on the H&A project this year, and just do that as a change order to that contract. But I can't get a commitment from them that they're going to have availability to bounce around. If I can get a no from them, then I'm going to be looking at other contractors to try to go through, and they may not be NDOT pre-qualified, but they would be capable of putting some asphalt on some of these chip seal roads. There's only half an inch or less of chip seal on a couple of the road sections that we'd be putting asphalt on, so it's certainly going to be a stronger patch than some of the road conditions we have in those areas. So, but I'm going to try to have something down on all these before the winter. It's just going to help us and help the team out as far as maintenance on those. Just in that safety call, and then the call, there's two different items on this. Number two, the safety call advertised that it's open today. I checked the website, it's not there yet, so technical difficulties after holiday weekend, so it's not technically open, but it is advertised open, so I will be working on that application here the next 2 weeks. Make sure that that's in, I'll let you know. I'll get a confirmation email when it's submitted, and I'll probably just forward that on to you as a blank copy, so you'll see it when it actually gets done. The other point is that they have advertised in their newsletter this language about notice of funding availability for local road projects. That is the standard federal aid call. And that will open on November 7th. It will close December 6th. So if we have federal projects, bridges, or roads, then we can have an opportunity to put those in for funding. And that is the more conventional 80-20 process. My plan is still to try to do something with Bridge 93, but I'm having some issues as far as how I want to fund that fully. So I'll let you know before we apply, but that doesn't happen until November. We'll get past the safety call before that happens.
So they say they're going to commence the roads in the spring of 2025, with work to be commenced by September 1st of 2025. Is that?
That's pretty standard. In fact, this call projects will be for projects with development to be commenced. So they want you to be development, and that's not construction. They want you under contract and developing your project by September.
Your contract.
So if they're giving you funds, the anticipation is that you have your consultants selected and under contract and working by September 1st of 25. Because that's fairly constricted. That's been pretty typical for them. You would apply for a project. You can't get contracts with the state done for 10 months.
So let's say that last sentence then, for selected projects, the construction funding year will be determined after a development schedule is set.
Yes.
So then we'll find out when it will be funded. Is that
correct? So once they know that you can hit a certain calendar year, they will move your funding to where they have monies available.
Okay.
So they're not going to say right now, what they have been doing for years is saying this is for fiscal year 2029. And your project must be done by 2029, not later. And now they're along the lines of, we're ready to fund projects and program money, and then if you can get it, we're going to slot you in, and then you're going to get that year. So you may be funded like we were funded for Bridge 27 in fiscal year 26. So July 26 through June 27. That's significantly earlier than the other projects funded on the same call. So if we go for Bridge 93 and we've got development well along, they may fund that 2 and 3 years earlier than what projects of similar type would be. So that's what that language means.
Well, and I think that was part of the reason why some of these companies were coming in here last year saying, hey, we'll do the pre-development for you. this will put you ahead of the line.
significantly. And it sounds good because we didn't have a solid asset management plan and we didn't have funding, we had the funding source set up as far as how those were going to fit in. It didn't work.
It didn't make sense.
It didn't work for us because we didn't have anything else programmed to do that. But they're saying wasn't its intention. It's just, it's like, it's healthy to drink beer. It's great until you drink a gallon of it and you pass out because you're essentially, it's in your system. So, there has to be kind of a balance. You have to understand that as a sector. We're not going to respond to maybe good use of these funds. And I think, as I said, to
Monies that were
the design money needs to be lined up with the available grant money, and the grant money needs to tie to specific projects. So you have a program. Now there's some better program because we've got more projects than grants lined up that tie to it, or even local funds. And we're going to see these funds in a process and get that put through. Very good. So that's those two. And then lastly, I do have a meeting with Aegis BLM this Friday. They're supposed to have a draft of the countywide bridge inspection complete. So we were going to meet last Friday, but then they pushed back a week. So I am supposed to meet with them this Friday. It will be a draft copy of one of those binders. And I'll review that. Once I give them the go ahead, then they'll submit a final copy for your approval. So, but that'll probably be kind of around soon. We're going to be on October by the time we get the final version of that done. So, other than that, we're moving on.
government negotiation starts once the
As far as the next county-wide bridge inspection contract, this is just finishing that phase two. That's phase two binder. So that'll be another 2A. So Aegis BLM will be involved in our contract for county-wide bridge inspection every 12 months next May and June. So our contract with them will run through essentially May of 26. So it's when theirs technically expires, but we will know we will be working with them before that, as far as the next 4-year cycle. So.
I'm still trying to get a hold of that whole timeline.
The timeline is strange for those, and everything is about. If you're curious about how those kind of line up, let me know when I kind of lay out the calendar, because essentially you're not doing it by weeks, you're doing it by months and years when you're laying those contracts out.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
Nate, how many bridges?
160, 163, something like that. So, yeah.
Very good. Thank
All right. Brad?
You ready for me?
Good.
I just have a few things today. First thing, something the ladies in the office brought up is I know there's a couple of departments, like the sheriff's department, Wells County Highway, other things have Facebook pages. And it's more for information. And I said, well, I'd come ask you guys, I don't know how we can decide that or talk to IT or whatever, but I just wanted to ask you guys first. But more informational, like if we have road cleaners, like what Nate's been doing with all the fixing pipes, we should put that in there. We could put other things like we're closing this thing because of a holiday and that kind of stuff. It's just going to be informational. It's not going to be for people to comment.
Well, it sounds like a good idea. Sherry, remember when we talked about Facebook pages and the change meetings, and somehow you can set it up where you don't take comments or to protect ourselves. But I know you guys just been real leery. Mike's been really leery doing that,
Yeah,
but.
so a couple years ago, we did talk about it, both for the county and for EMA, and Mark at the time was not, comfortable with it just because of the public record aspect of it. But now that Dan's working with this company
Civic Plus.
that's gonna be helping us manage the public records aspect of it, I think it would be more okay, but I would want us to maybe consider like a countywide page versus just each individual department continuing to have their own page, just a thought. Because right now we have the sheriff's department, and then I think we have EMA, I think they've got one. So then we'd have a third with highway, so I think it would make more sense to do it from, and health department has one. So I think it would make more sense to do it from a countywide perspective versus,
How would we go about coordinating that?
I think we could take it to the change management meeting and just kind of brainstorm in there, get Mark or Clayton's opinion on the public records aspect, get Dan's input from Civic Plus and put all the pieces together.
We're not looking for anything to replace the county website, though.
Correct. No.
This would be an addition.
It's basically information.
And that's where Mike has had problems. He didn't want, because the county website is on our network. These that we have currently are not in our network. So, and that's where he's learning about putting links into our county website for these people for one-place shopping. So that's why we have gone separate. So it has nothing to do with our network. When you put it on our networks, our county's page, website, that now brings all that into our network. And I think that's what Mike doesn't want. So, and Mike would rather, but we'll verify, have him just do his own like we do our own, because it's not in the network. It has nothing to do with our network, and we now have the company that does the record retention, so we're good, and if he adds his, that will fall under that account.
Well, I know even Civics Plus was an investment, and I think you paid for that out of your
Paid for it.
Yeah, and so I assume that's working well.
Yes, it is. It actually gives us, it has sent us tips before when someone has tried to post, because mine does allow people to respond. And the reason that is, that's how we get tips. So if I don't allow it, then they can't share information with me. I don't think any of the other Facebook pages does that. Health Department, EMA, and like he said, he doesn't want that. It's just informational putting outgoing. I do have some incoming. And because of that, I've received tips before where someone used some language that could be taken as threats. It wasn't, but it highlighted those, and we get emails sent for that purpose. So it's a great tool. I love it. But if he would add his to it, there's no extra cost. Like I said, we can go up to over 13 accounts before we have to adjust any contracts or anything like that. So him having his own page would not affect anything.
Well, and that goes back to my original question, as far as coordinating something like that. I mean, obviously, you've had experience with it and understand the Civics Plus aspect, and if that's an issue that would address Mike's concerns to where it wasn't a security issue and it wasn't on our network, but it could still function to your benefit. I mean, to me, it seems like it makes sense. I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think it's a struggle. I appreciate Mike's concern. I think it's, maybe we can figure out how to make it just one way and not take comments and just be informational.
I think we could, and what I've said before in the past too, is that I think that as we're looking forward to this domain change and like the marketing theory here, that it's also important that we recognize that we want to have like one voice that we put out, to the public. So again, for my purpose, I think it would be best if we address it on a county-wide level, and then we can have highways information, we can have the auditor's office information, we can have everybody's information, and there's only one place for the public to go to other than the sheriff's department to get what they need from us, but that's just my 2 cents.
Well, and part of it has to be, the last thing we want to do is put more on Ethan's plate.
Right.
This has to have nothing to do with the IT department.
Well, that's the problem with having one place.
So,
We all put our own post on there. That doesn't, we maintain our own. If we go to one place, I doubt Mike's gonna want every department head to go in and post things.
right.
So I'll get the change, we'll put it on the agenda and see what it says, but I know the issue of him putting it into our network was a security issue, but the way we're doing it, it's not in our network.
So if we could do that, if we could have that discussion at our change management meeting and just kind of make sure he's okay with it and figure out, I'm kind of like you, if we have one Facebook page for the whole county, then somebody's gotta watch it, and there is no one person that is willing to,
Nobody want to.
yeah. So, but if each department has their own, you can update it as you see fit, put what information.
Yep.
So,
You can have the agenda for that and then we'll get back to you.
that'll be great. You can,
All right, a couple other things, up to today, we've got about 38 miles chip seal done, so it's, with all the issues we've had, we had another issue this morning. Truck blew the main hydraulic line, he was just backing it out with spark and to go to a federal ground. And it goes from the pump to the motor, a 32-foot long hydraulic oil line blew up. So that means this morning we scrambled around, got the load stopped on the bond, did all that, anyhow. That's just to let you know, but yeah, tonight we've got 48 miles done. We've got about 2 weeks left. The oil company we're dealing with has said, you got about 2 weeks and we're done, because they're gonna be done getting more red, you'll be lucky if you can get it after that point. So anyhow, we've done all right with all the issues we've had, but we're gonna give her the next 2 weeks here and give her a whirl, so.
and then probably once the road clear.
That's the other thing we have to watch. Correct. We gotta watch that too, about 60 degrees, is where, yeah, it gets iffy. So yeah, we watch that too. I don't know, I actually shot the road this morning, so it's around 60 degrees this morning, so. Now, one other thing, what I believe I talked to you guys about the sign spinners. We put some up, the sign crew put them up at 2 west, 5 north, 3 south, 5 west, and 9 north, 4 west. Those have just been some problem areas the last few years, seems to be, but they're out, so we have to get it that way. You should notice, if there's any little bit of breeze, they're moving, and you can see them from a long way off, if you know what you're looking for. Good. Just let you know, you're gonna give them more. Yeah.
Stop sign indicators.
What's that? It's a spinner going off the stop sign, and I think they're at 12 by 6 and they're curved, well, they're reflecting red and white. So when they spin it, it's like a reflective red and white, and they stand out like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then that charges the battery, so you've got lights that flash at night.
Hey, that's an idea, maybe we can come up with that.
You and I could be real.
That case, we're on it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Now, Rick's gonna be here this morning. He's got, a couple projects that he's in the middle of. One of them is the generator project over at the courthouse, which he's got, Jay Myers doing some preliminary work to move water heater and radiator out of the way so that, Service Electric is gonna come in and do the wiring on that. And then they're gonna move the generator and transfer switch from Golden Meadows into the courthouse, because they looked at that and everything is just real compatible with what we wanna do there. So they're gonna have to put a pad and put a fence around that, but he wants to put it on the west side of the building there. They have to, get enough water down here for the generator project here, and so Shandell's working on that, and they're gonna run the wiring. Also the transfer switch they have in hand, but as they looked at it, for some reason, I don't know what this is. I thought the transfer switch was all mechanical, but they didn't want to turn it on its side to get it in there. So they're gonna have to make some modifications in that doorway going back to the cold room back there. So they can get the switch in there and get it on top. So he's gonna kind of shoot for, the next holiday weekend, which is Columbus Day. And kind of a long weekend, and he said to if they get ready for it, when they actually change over to the new generator, they're looking at a strong half day of being out of power. So I mean, for preliminary work, they're gonna have to use our generator, and so that'll be running for the preliminary work, and then once they switch over, we'll be down for a strong half day, so. And then obviously that's gonna be coordinated with the sheriff's department and Mike and everybody, so that's where he's at.
So, other than that, he's just dealing with fun stuff like rings at the courthouse, stuff like that. So that's all I've got talking to him. So it looks like Ed's not here for treasurer report. You didn't have anything from him, did you?
He's here today, he just must not have had a report yet.
Okay. All right. All right. Then we've got our director of council on aging here, Michelle.
Morning,
Morning.
Morning, Michelle. I got two parts. The first part's just an 8-month checkup.
Well,
As you can see, well, good morning. So as you can see, the trips are going exceedingly well. We're up over 1,000 in comparison to 2023 to 2024. The most exciting part to me about that is the employment. Every month we gain more and more and more rides for employment, which is a benefit to the businesses, to the families, to the individuals.
I
Just
couldn't
this-
think medical dropped.
I'm not sure, but it's been steadily dropping all year, so I'm not quite sure why. And it's not from lack of availability because we're running pretty well all 7 vehicles all the time. So I don't know. It could be that caregivers are taking their loved ones at this time. That would probably be my guess as to why the numbers drop. It just kind of depends on whether or not they have another ride, someone willing to take them. If you look at the green chart for the money, it is really nice to be able to charge fares for those rides we're giving for those 0 to 59 versus the suggested donations of the past. And we did transition for our out-of-county trips. That used to be a suggested donation of $20 or $50 depending on where you were going. And now it's $1 a mile regardless of age. We were kind of getting not quite enough to cover those trips. So that's why we migrated. Well, we thought since we were doing the public fares, we'll change the out-of-county fares. And for the most part, I'd say 90% of people have been fine with that because they understand that those trips are expensive, not only to travel the distance, but then to have the driver wait up in Fort Wayne or Bluffton for the however many hours the trip takes. And I'm not able to transport anyone in the middle of those. So
the driver does wait for him.
they do. They don't go to the appointment with them, so they'll usually run to Lowe's or Menards, or they'll just hang out at a coffee shop up there and wait. So I am paying them to wait up there. So those trips are definitely more costly.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be sometimes for like if they have a cataract appointment, those are like 4-hour appointments. I will bring them back home, run trips in between, and then send them back up. But that's additional cost as well with the gas. So ridership's up, which is amazing. We just started last week transporting 2 different groups of students to 2 different schools. Exciting, in the mornings and in the afternoons, and 2 teachers that go along with that. So that's something new that's been an addition to what we've had in the past. So overall, and I did mention last time I was here that I asked NDOT if we could possibly, in addition to the 50,000 that they gave us this year and they were slated to give us next year, I asked if we could have 100, and that is in my budget online. So I'm assuming that we got that. So that'll be a blessing because we went through our 50,000. It didn't even cover all of Q2. So quarters 3 and 4 from NDOT reimbursement will be at 0 cost from NDOT. So hopefully with 100,000, it'll at least get us through 3 quarters next year of what their reimbursement would be. So questions on Adams County Transit on the 8-month check?
I just think that number on the transports for employment is fantastic. I think, that doesn't speak economic development.
Absolutely.
So
It
we're
is.
there.
and count on us, you know, I mean, and I've mentioned before, we've got a business owner actually paying for their employees' trips because it's worth it to them to have them there, and both the gentlemen are in wheelchairs, and how else would they have gotten there without us? We pick them up, I think it's 6:30 in the morning, and then we take them back home. I believe it's towards 4 o'clock, somewhere around there, so it's just a blessing. We're running both of our large vehicles, every day, and with the third one coming in the next month or two, it'll be running as well. It's just so nice to be able to, you can put 2 wheelchairs in there and have 9 other ambulatory people. So on the mornings, we pick up the Amish, it's an Amish crew that goes to school. It's 2 teachers, a helper, and 3 kids. One of them's in wheelchairs. We can pile them all in that one vehicle, which is a blessing. So
Good.
it's been a great addition. I'm really excited about that. Part 2 is, I had mentioned before about, we've been working on the garage nonstop. I just want to thank you guys for all of your support
Looks familiar.
over the years. 3 years ago, well, when I started 7 years ago, my goal was to have the vehicles garaged. I started in 17 to have them garaged by 2020. When that didn't quite happen, things happened. Then I decided, oh, I'm still going to go for it. So I had economic development money that I get from you guys set aside 2 years ago for the garage. Things didn't quite come to fruition at that time, and then I have ended up spending most of that with the cost of the program and the expansion. So I'm looking at, let's see, I had 100,000 saved a couple years ago for it, and the last estimate we got for the garages were around 155. Mark Wynn's been working with us. We finally have state design release, which is a long, tedious process. You guys know that from having worked with that. So now we've got state design release and we're ready for the project, and I've used most of our savings doing the public transportation, which is a blessing to the county, but it's really expensive as well. So some things that have kind of dipped into our savings that we've had. We have 15 on staff right now. I'm currently training a 16th person right now as a dispatcher. So my payroll is pretty well doubled. We doubled our vehicle fleet. The estimated value of all of our vehicles is over $400,000 at this time. And then our current savings, which is around 150 currently, will get all the way down to around 20 by the end of the year, just from the cost of the program with payrolls and vehicle costs. So if you look at the second sheet of that, you can see the plans for the garage. It's got 4 larger bays that'll handle the transit vehicles. I originally had an 8-bay garage that was the larger, but to save money, we just cut it in half so that the minivans would go on the smaller side and then the larger transits would go on the larger side. It would have a man door on each end. And then at the third sheet, you can kind of see the location. That south building will get taken down, and about half of where that building currently is, all the way to the south, will be the 30 by, I think it's 105 garage. So my question or my plea for you guys is, we were able to get the ARPA money from you, or for us, from you, for that plot of ground, so that there would be no issue as to, we only had a 2-year lease with the city. We wanted to be able to have access to the ground, so that was taken care of with the ARPA money. I am hopeful, and if it doesn't work out, I will pursue a loan, whatever it takes. But I'm hopeful that you guys would help me protect our investment, our $400,000 in vehicles, by helping with the cost of the garage. We would have built it 2 years ago, I could have paid cash 2 years ago, but with the expansion, with buying 3 new vehicles last year and 1 more this year and doubling employees, I do not have the cash flow to be able to do that. So
If you would have built it 2 years ago, it would have been too small today.
it would have, yes, it would have only been a 4-bay.
Expanding it to an 8-bay, that's able to house all of your vehicles and you know, with the $275,000 investment in vehicles, that's a huge investment that I think we have a duty to protect. You know, we've obviously got the investment in the property. Mark's got a lot of investment in time working with Mark Wynn, you know, to come to a design that's been state approved and at the point of being able to bid that out. So, you know, I guess it's my thought that we should continue to support the project and make sure that it happens. Mark, do you have any updates on?
Yeah, I know Mark's finishing up the specifications on all the different prime contracts, so, because we're gonna essentially be generally in the project. And so I've got notices to send out once he has all the specs. Might be a good idea, maybe for you and I and Mark to meet maybe this week and see about a timeline to get that finalized, so we can get it out.
Yeah, he spoke, Mark joined us at my board meeting 2 weeks ago and filled in the board on the project and brought the blueprints and
Yep.
he was talking at that time, getting the bid sheets ready with you, so.
Do we have a concept as to how the funding would work, or what's we own the ground, right? The county owns the ground?
Right.
Okay, so is the county gonna own the building once the building is built? That's the plan, is that the county owns it?
The county owns the dirt, you also own the building that's on it.
Right.
It's a fixture, they're not separate.
So is the plan then, Michelle, for you to lease that building from us, or?
That would be great. I talked to the board about it as well, about maybe having a long-term lease with, as long as we're in operation, utilizing the building, that we could use it. And then if we would cease to exist, then you guys would have it back and you'd have full use of it, or even if, I will have 8 vehicles, so I will have all 8 days filled, but, you know, if there was something that the county needed to put in next, we could work with it.
So heat access to the building?
Is there what?
Is you gonna have heat in the building?
Yes.
One of the things too that we've been looking ahead, to get into this program, the way the 5311 program worked was the funding initially has been a little bit stifled until you kind of prove yourself.
Right.
And then once you prove yourself, there's additional federal funding available and additional state funding available both. So we're getting through a squeaky spot here, but, you know, the potential is much better in say 26, 27.
Right, once we get to 2026, so once we get out of our 2-year demonstration phase, we're looking at around 300,000 federal money and 100,000 in state money versus the 50 we have right now.
Okay.
So this is the flow of money into the county is going to be tremendous when we get to that, after that first quarter of 2026. It's just, it is so expensive. And I love serving as many people as we can, but the more people we serve, the more trips we give, the more drivers I hire, the more vehicles I have. Just everything is just more expensive. We've already been through our fuel budget in June. We've been through our vehicle operation budget in June, and that's just how it is. I mean, that's par for the course, but it's expensive as well.
And I have kind of talked just in a heads up to council that, you know, this is a project we're working on and going to be exploring funding for the building. So we're all kind of working on it together to get this done. And so, but yeah, I think that's a good point that you make as far as you and Mark both, as far as we own the building and a lease situation moving forward. So.
Well, in the short term, you know, it could be, it's a matter of coming up with the funds to get the building done. And then in the short term, it could be, you know, a 2-year lease, and then once the other funding comes through, then we can restructure it.
Some kind of an initial financially advantaged lease amount, and then do a full lease amount once you got your full funding in place.
Yep.
I'm just trying to get him a sense from the urgency of trying to get the building done for the winter in that. So if between us and council, we've got funding ready to go so that we can start letting out contracts as soon as the bids come in.
Yeah, you want to at least get the concrete done before it gets too cold.
So do we have the 155,000, is that still a viable number, do you think, from a construction standpoint, or is that number gonna be too low? Because it's the initial number, or what do you think we're gonna go with that number?
I think that's pretty viable. I mean, it's only been a handful of months since Mark Wayne came up with that. He got some
Okay.
real numbers at the time. I mean, it was double what we came up with 2 years ago.
Right.
What's your take on it? I think we're gonna be right around there.
Yeah, it might be a little more, but I think there's some other funding sources that we might be able to tap.
I guess I'm just thinking, do we need to be in front of council at the next council meeting requesting funding?
Very likely.
And if that's the case, if it's gonna be county owned, then obviously Michelle's gotta support that request, but it has to be from us to council. For the funding, so we need to get up, make sure we're on council's agenda for the September meeting. Otherwise, we're gonna be sitting around here with contractors ready to go to work, and we don't know how we're gonna pay them.
Yeah, on the other hand, we won't know that 155 number, how viable that is until we start getting bids back.
Well, I think what you could do is you could get on the council's agenda and at least let's have the conversation and get some reserve money set aside. We could get the thing built. You've got rainy day funds, you've got economic development funds. I mean, there's places where, we can come up with the funds.
I think we just need to get the money, reserved at the council meeting, and then otherwise we're gonna be looking at October before we can actually start any work.
If they decide this meeting, the council could do their part at that meeting, commissioners could do it right after, because it takes both, as you know. That'd be one avenue. There is no enough ARPA left.
It feels to me like we need official action from council, and
So you sometimes should get on their September agenda?
next week.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and get you on that.
Yeah, I would put it on for commissioners to discuss the final funding phase for the transportation project.
Is it okay if I come just in the background in case there's any questions?
No, we need to hear.
Yeah.
You make a much more compelling argument than me.
Well, we've had catalytic converters sawed off, we've had fuel siphoned off. I would just love to get them safe, secure, and warm, because then that one day we had the double catalytic converter sawed off. We couldn't take someone in a wheelchair because that was the only vehicle that worked for them. Some people, that's the only one that fits their needs, and it was dialysis, it just killed me.
We need your passion for the program there. It's just,
I'll be there,
Okay.
so. I really appreciate the support. I apologize that things have gotten so expensive that my money I had squirreled away for this has been eaten up by the program, but I'm glad the program is successful. So NDOT is so thrilled with you guys' support and the program that, we were able to get that
proof is in the numbers.
absolutely. We were able to get that 8th vehicle a year early. He
Yeah.
contacted me and wanted to know if we'd be interested. Yep.
Well, and if Todd Jennings shows up, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, so, awesome.
Good. Sheriff.
And yes,
Michelle, on your summary page.
Yep.
The green bars, you didn't do it in January, and August of '23, but you do it in this year. The unfunded 18 to 59, why is there no total in that spot? for
Because
this?
they are now public transportation.
Oh, it just falls under the
Yeah, they're in a different category, yeah. They were more of a donation base, so
Gotcha.
they kind of
They
gave
fall under the,
the zero to 59, absolutely.
gotcha. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Thanks for
yeah, I just appreciate all the work, time and effort that you put into this to make it
Thank you, I appreciate it.
a whole viable program. And that's all besides the work that you're doing. So the other work for Council on Aging is putting the programs together, the education programs, the recreation programs.
Bus trips, we got our 8th bus
Those
trip.
trips. So, it's just been a huge undertaking.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's been good, thank you.
Thank you.
I did the bills be right this fall.
Yes. I expect to get them out of the elements this season.
They should have something that same day.
Yeah.
So that, every Sunday before they go.
Yeah.
17-4, 5-3-1-6.
Sure.
Reference the option for county properties, that large step van that I have in our office, I would like to put into that. How are we gonna handle titles? Because I don't really want you to sign off on it, we have to sign title if it doesn't sell. Are any of you gonna be present at the auction that the title could be signed for any of the vehicles that are in it?
I would say at least one of us will be at the auction.
All right, so I'll put in Sharon, get that on there. Yes, I'll get Sharon, for it. So if it sells, then whoever's there, just sign off on it, and we're good to go.
Okay.
I'll make it work if I can't stand well.
Is he advertising a day yet or still?
Yes, in fact, it's my fault. I had flyers and I forgot to bring them to Shannon, so I'm gonna bring them tomorrow and give them to Shannon.
Gotcha.
That was my fault. I thought he had sent some up to her already.
Yeah.
It's still September 14th. Yes.
And you want stuff there by that Monday?
Next week, he's going to start lining up.
Try and stay away from Friday the 13th. If you're suspicious. Poke it possible.
Did you happen to talk to Paul?
We did a little bit.
Okay.
Then we went, yeah.
All right.
Sure, you aren't supposed to be here. But are you gonna put all those blades on the auction that have?
Not all of them, no. That's what we talked about.
Oh, did you?
That's right.
Just
And I
just
asked us.
a little bit. Hey, can we put a distributor in that? A low distributor?
Sure, sure. Yeah,
It's running and making up.
I know that's something I've always been looking for. Start my own road program.
Sheriff, what was you saying you was wanting to put in that?
It's the big old step cargo van that we have, it's like, what,
That actually, yes.
yeah, the silver cell there, those just those big box things. They used to way back, I think, when they had work release guys going out doing stuff, but it hasn't been used since I've been there.
You happen to have a picture of that you could send to me?
I can go telephone, not at
Would you do that? Maybe I can give it to them.
that, and hold it the time, I'll have to get that information.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll get you the year, the mileage on and all that stuff. I know it runs, but we just don't use it. We don't have a need for it.
All right, thank you. Want to haul voting equipment in it? Want to haul some voting equipment in it? Bring back every record from Burns.
Thank you, Dave. All right, Merkins, Mark, do you have anything for us today?
Yeah, I think I sent you out that title search on that thing that we got with Robert Quinn, so we're gonna be working on that. Good. We got the deed on the property over by Pickway for that common area. So we're ready to go. I wanna mention something to Nate, I'll talk to Mike Willing, but all I need from him is just a final tile size that we're gonna put in for drainage there. And then I wanna try to get that right away finished. It's enough of a drainage plan. We've got control of the real estate. We'll tell them what we're gonna put in and see if they're good with that. Let's get the land acquired, get that project going.
Thank you.
Did we take those bids under advisement for demolition? Is that?
Yeah, we did. I gotta email Rod and see if
I sent those to him, so
he did, okay. Yeah, I need to talk to Rod about that.
Rod was concerned because those bids were so much higher than than what was in his budget. And I don't think, last I spoke with him, I don't think he thought he had a very good source to come up with that difference. And was really concerned that it might have a significantly negative impact on the whole project. So I guess I was wondering, since ultimately the county's going to take title to that property, if there's some way that we could get involved with the difference there, which was about, rough number, $6,000 or something like that. I just don't know whether it makes any sense for us to get involved there or not, but I thought that since we're in the property after it's over, there was some justification for us coming to the table with some money.
I'll send an email here to Rod and see if he's got the final, exactly what
I think it makes sense for us to
what
support
the difference is.
I do too, right? You know, I would justify it.
Get it finished out.
Yeah.
See anything.
You know, when he got done, Rod was kind of in a panic but I told him I thought that we wouldn't be beyond at least considering helping out with that deficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Mark, when is about 10 minutes away from the complex?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then also I'll send, I don't know if, well, I'll have to ask Mark, but, talk to Brent Luganbill about getting, those pallets for us. So he's willing to do that. It's just right now it's a matter of coordinating that with Wayne and then Sheriff.
Very good.
While we're waiting on Mark, I don't know if I mentioned to you all or not specifically, I think I told you that we are getting ready to have our audit, a regular audit. They are coming on September 10th, which is of course council and commissioner meeting days. But they're coming on the 10th, and I say that, I talked to Rick, and I think we're going to put in the break room again. The same thing with all your projects, I think Steve Bailey had a great idea, if you could come up with a spot to have these kinds of things and not have to put them into a break room or a coat closet or something like that. That's other small meetings you guys might want to have.
Didn't they always use the corner room on third floor for Peterborough hearings? Or that's something we could use for state board of accounts?
Sure.
The Mary's room up there?
I don't know, but they're going to rain some leaks. We have to
We're gonna do roof the house.
You can ask Mary.
Is it inside Mary's office?
No,
It's a state room. It's like that big, tall room in the corner. It's a corner.
I guess what Tony's referring to is, it would be nice if there was a common small meeting room here somewhere in the building that you could schedule and use, whether it be auditors or auditors coming in, or examiners, or even if one of us are trying to set up a small meeting. You know, this room is just not very conducive to a meeting of 3 or 4 people. It'd be nice to have a room we could.
That's where I always imagined 125 being.
It's not set for meetings, it's set for training.
Isn't there a cold room down there in the basement we could put the auditors in?
I don't want to make them upset. I don't want to upset them. They might find something.
They'll be, yeah, they'll just be in the middle of it, the generator will kick in. That was a joke.
But I mean, for that, it's like, sort of fun, that's where the last time,
Okay. Use that as a paper.
a bit locked so they can walk their
Yeah, and I am thinking that, I mean, Rick was making preparations to move his office down to the west end of the hall. And I was thinking they were even putting cabling and stuff in there, and he hasn't moved yet, so I don't know if that office would be. I guess I haven't been in there for, I don't know. But he might have been running some copy cabling in there, and so they might have.
thought I opened the way.
Something about moving there, and it doesn't look like he's got intentions of moving anytime soon.
I was just gonna make you guys aware that they are coming and you guys want to talk to you after the meeting, Fixler needs to talk to you guys about some insurance.
Okay.
I don't know if Shannon has anything.
All right. Discuss, real estate. So, you know, that hopefully will be coming up here soon. And then also, we may be looking at executive session to discuss salaries. So, and I think, Mark, those are both legitimate. Okay.
Yeah, I sent you guys a letter, draft letter for, you guys all right with that?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that sounds good.
Mark, do you have any revisions to that letter? We can talk about it. Yes, let me look at it again.
I didn't see any of this, so. Shannon, did you have anything for us?
Yeah, all kinds of goodies.
I just have two things.
Leave them. I just got me a mint, hope I'm like yours, was that yours?
No, don't think so.
Last week during budget hearings, Shelley in the clerk's office was requested and was given approval to hire a second chief deputy in her office by statute. So she sent me her job description that she's had for quite a while for it. So I just officially need to get it approved by you guys. I did not send it to you last week, so I can bring it next week if you want me to, or you're welcome to take a look at it. I did review it. It's pretty standard. It's kind of a combination of some of the other job descriptions that she already has in her office. So
Will it be a new hire, or will she move one of her current employees?
there's a current employee that she's gonna.
So is it an add to her total staff then? Will the current employee be replaced then, or what's the,
I don't know.
is this the first we've heard about this? Or is my memory like,
I'm not sure if she's
Not
talked
good.
about it before. I've never talked about it.
I don't remember her talking about it.
I think that might be the only department that can have two chief
I
deputies.
think you're right, because there's a circuit and a superior. So let me find out if there's I need to get my phone, but
If she does that, is that something that would go before the wage review committee first or not?
I don't believe so because the chief deputy position is already categorized as an NE6. So it would just be the same categorization, it'd be the same rate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because she's already got one. So she's just adding a second one. And she's, like I said, she's allowed to have one for circuit and one for superior. So let me confirm with her if it's going to be a replacement position or if it's just gonna be this one. This one is moving up and that's it, and then I'll bring it back to you guys next week. Okay. And then the other thing from last week during budget hearings,
Can
there,
I ask one more question on that? Kind of a dumb question, is that, I mean, I don't know whether it's anything, we have a say-so, because if she is entitled to two chief deputies, then, I mean, it's really not our decision, is that correct?
correct, she's just asking for you guys to officially approve the job description, which you do have to
The
do.
job description?
Yep.
Okay, so that would be our part. in the-
Yep. So I will get that information from her and then bring it back to you guys next week.
Okay.
And then my other thing that came up during budget hearings last week was there's a position, in the auditor's office that they are requesting that the job description be updated and the FLSA status for that job be changed from non-exempt to exempt. And obviously that's a big change. So we have Clayton reached out to our employment attorney, with that job description to confirm what his thoughts were. And I sent that to you guys late last week.
Right.
So if you would like to make that change, I don't have it in front of me because it's just that one word, but I'm just bringing it to your attention.
I think we're still discussing that. I think we're ready to do that.
Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah, so I guess at this point, you know, we're gonna defer any action on that till further discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, though. Yeah. All right, Mark's not here
I
yet.
got stopped at a light.
Yeah.
He said about 10 minutes, wait 10 minutes.
Got big.
You referred to a letter that you had sent us to review. What day did you send that? I'm not finding that.
Well, I hope I sent it. Yeah, I think I remember seeing it.
Let me look. It would have been. Is it regarding the house that we're talking about demolishing? Not that subject?
No,
Okay.
no, I'll look here.
Okay.
See if sometimes I get stuff all ready to go and then I think I sent it and.
Been there, done that.
Turns out I,
This one on the demolishment.
65 Oaks. No, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, are you talking about the number related to the, building acquisition?
Yes,
Okay, I did get that, my apologies.
that was last Thursday. I found it here.
Yeah, I read through.
I don't know that I had read that, so I screwed up.
Excuse me. Okay.
Mark did walk in, by the way.
Yeah, so, oh, thank you.
Yeah, I had read that.
Did you want to read through that and discuss it later, or you want to continue on?
Yeah.
I don't need an answer now.
Okay.
That's actually not at this point.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if you're good with that, we'll move on, and now that Mark's here, come on up. With his stack of papers.
Both these ones today. Should look at that down. This property. 250 west, 750 north. It's actually a single property that always had a road going through it, but they have now put a line through that road and made two different lots. One on this side, 250, one on that side.
Makes sense to me.
Family, family is family. So this is 750.
It's actually up further yet. 750's down south from there. It's down in here. It doesn't even show.
So it goes from the,
Neither one of these are roads. Roads, no, correct.
this is,
It's in the middle of the section.
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
Two lots.
okay.
Yes, it went from one lot to two.
Okay. 250 west Springfield.
And 250 keeps running through.
Yep.
And 750 and 900 is a mile and a half long. So this is kind of in the middle of that. It's not,
Gotcha.
it's not against the road either
Trying
way.
to figure out where. Interesting. Okay.
I'm not sure how far north it is of 750 or how south it is of 900. But that's where it's at. It's that weird mile and a half stretch.
Motion carries. Eric doesn't have any questions, I don't know.
This is nothing more than actually a guy combining a lot.
We don't allow that.
You know, he's wanting to, this is the gentleman that put up some livestock buildings but called them something else and then put livestock in them. He's trying to figure out a way to go IDAM and make things work. But either way, he's building some new buildings. House also that he has to meet for distance as it's per property.
Okay.
So he's taking this line out
Be careful on the
and combining it. Get more distance. So that's what's going on there. At the end of the day, he's just combining this 2 acres back into the original.
Motion approved. Second.
Okay. Motion carries.
East.
Thousand south, okay. That's it. Okay.
Thank you, that's all I got.
Mark, do you have any update on the lagoon situation we had here a few weeks ago for us? Know
I
anymore?
have not gotten anything back from Mike.
Haven't heard anything back from their report or anything?
Either one of them.
Okay. Do you notice that lagoon, you had told us after that meeting that lagoon was placed on a hold Is that fair? Then you have to go and redoing business back out there.
I understand it's not limited till this investigation are done with their report.
Okay.
And I did talk to Ben, and he said that that was the case, and they weren't bringing anything in.
So that's, so there's a stoppage on all the work around there.
To not taking anything out either, as far as
I
I
don't think they're even doing that, but they're taking their tools from not bringing anything in.
Okay.
They're still bringing product to try and get the smell under control, but
Okay. Not material.
not material.
I haven't seen any more calls or emails about it, so I haven't noticed.
I haven't, yeah, they're on the state words, but hopefully we get something
Well,
soon.
thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Appreciate your work on that, of course.
Good. Anything else from the general public? Okay. Anything else from?
Quick update from the Adams County Countywide Vision, where we did interview 4 applicants to help us as a consultant to help us work on that vision plan. The screening committee has one that they would like to present to the steering committee. Once the steering committee has a chance to look at that and give us our feedback, I think that will come to the commissioners. But I'm hoping to put that meeting together with the steering committee in the next week or 2. That would put it back in the commissioners with a recommendation before the end of the month.
To hire that
county. That would be our recommendation.
Did meet with, the opioid steering committee met. And so they are gonna come with a recommendation next week. I think they're on the agenda for council. Is that correct? I'll have to look. But they're gonna get on the agenda for council and then present the recommendations to, I mean, I think technically it comes to us first, but council has to approve it. So they're gonna make the presentation to council, while we're sitting there too, so that way we can all do it together and then, we'll have to get the official action from council and from us following in our meeting. So
You're talking about the grant, the grant funds and how they're going to be allocated for this coming year. Good,
correct.
good deal.
So, yeah, we've got, the biggest one would be the recommendation for $125,000 for the IREX committee.
Right.
Which will involve a couple new personnel at the jail.
Right.
Stuff like that. And then some from the school and so, yeah. So anyway, they'll present that formally next week.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, and then you said you definitely did set the date for October 14th.
Yes.
For the auction.
September 14th.
September 14th.
September 14th.
September 14th. Yeah.
It's really, yeah, really just in a couple weeks.
Yeah. You can quote me, but don't always say the stuff that I say. Yeah, all right, nothing else?
Take a motion to.
Sure.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.